Hey everybody, welcome to the Darksliders podcast with Doug and Brad.
Hi.
We are back after about a 2-week vacation,
2.5-ish.
give or take.
We record these at weird times, so I'm never actually sure. Like sometimes we record them on Sunday, Saturday, Tuesday, whenever we're free, basically.
Well, and then we post it like somewhere between 6 hours and 4 days after we record it. So when we recorded it versus when it actually happened, and time is weird. But anyway,
yeah,
this is our first episode back. First episode of 2016. That's cool.
Yeah, we're having a radically different format too. We're not. It's the same stuff.
Radically different. By that, he means there's no news going on. And so we're not going to talk about news. But other than that, it's the same thing as always. We've both been playing a ton of games since we did this last because it's the holidays, so time off and free money, essentially. So all kinds of new games that we've been playing. So we're just going to kind of run through what we've been playing for the past couple weeks here since our last episode. So tons of games to talk about. Undertale, Xenoblade Chronicles, the new Amplitude, all kinds of other stuff as well. So we'll go through some of those here. But the first one I want to start with is the Game of the Year by many people, but not from us because neither of us played it. And I don't quite get it, but Doug spent some time with Undertale.
Yeah.
Which I'm really curious about.
Yeah. Undertale is pretty good. I like it. I don't think it's God's greatest gift to mankind as some people think it is, but I can understand why people would think that. This game I kind of put in the category of Cave Story, which is kind of weird. If you've never played Cave Story, that means nothing to you, but if you play Cave Story, you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get that. Basically what happened when Cave Story came out is that it was a game that sort of took just a general gameplay concept, Metroidvania, and put all these kind of really cool twists on it that other Metroidvania games hadn't done before. And this is basically the same. It's the same idea where it takes basically a well-trodden concept, the JRPG, and then adds these really kind of cool twists to it. And it's basically the thing that people like about this game, I can tell, is like the sort of little twist that they play on this, because the game constantly plays with the mechanics, which I love. The thing that is like, I knew that we were going to talk about Undertale for this episode because I want to talk about Undertale. The thing is, like,
and that's the way things work. I knew it was going to happen because I wanted to.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, the thing was, like, what I was thinking, I was like, oh man, I love this part in Undertale. Oh, I can't talk about that. Everything I like about this game, I can't talk about because a lot of it has to do with playing on your expectations of what you expect this game to be. And what I expect this game to be was a JRPG, and it's not really a JRPG. It's
interesting.
I would actually call it more of a shmup, like a shoot-'em-up game.
Because those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's kind of cool, the thing that always kind of bugs me about JRPGs in general, it's both turn-based combat, is like you can never really block an attack. In this game, you can block every attack. And how it works is kind of like, have you ever played WarioWare?
Like the mini-game collection?
Yes.
Yes?
Okay, it's a lot like WarioWare. So, like... So, like, in WarioWare...
So from JRPGs to shoot-'em-ups to WarioWare.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this game's super hard to explain, and, like, saying it's just a simple JRPG is not explaining it at all. So every time an enemy attacks you, kind of like turn-based combat, what happens is, like, a little box will form, and you have, like, a little heart. It'll be something like, dodge the bones, or dodge the this, and then you have to sort of, like, kind of, like, move your little heart around so you don't get hit. So sometimes it can be, like... That's why I was saying it was kind of like a shmup, because sometimes it would be like a lot of bullets flying at you, so you have to like sort of move your heart around and dodge the bullets. Or sometimes like they'll flip the screen, so they'll flip the screen and now you have to like hop like a platformer, or they'll do something really strange where suddenly like the box that you can move like your little heart in like expands like across the entire screen, and then you have like a whole screen you have to mess with, and sometimes characters will actually like mess with the screen. It's a lot like it's fourth wall breaking isn't the right word. It's just kind of like your expectations, like, okay, I'm this little heart that has to dodge around. And it just plays with that like constantly. It's like every enemy attack you can dodge, but every enemy attacks in completely different ways. That's not simply just like I attack, you attack, I attack, you attack.
Yeah.
So that's why yeah.
So I guess my question is with this: when did this game come out?
When did it come out?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I literally got it because people just would not shut up about it. And I realized it actually run on my laptop, so I have no idea.
Because to me, like, I never heard of this up until Game of the Year Awards, and then all of a sudden it was like the greatest thing ever. I don't remember this game coming out. I don't remember anything about it until mid-December when everybody started talking Game of the Years, and all of a sudden this was everybody's Game of the Year.
Yeah, that's what's kind of cool about it, though. It's like, because it was entirely word of mouth. So, like, word of mouth games, like, oh, I have no idea when they come. I heard about it, so that's when I played it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, because I don't think it had any advertising, and it was just, like, the uniqueness of this game, I think, is kind of what drives people to talk about it. Like, when you play a game, like, the reason you want to talk about a game is because you find something kind of inspiring about it, or you find something unique, and it just has that, like, the entire game is based around just playing with your expectations. So I think that's why people are talking about it, because it's a hard game to talk about. Like I'm saying, like when I'm talking about it, it's like, oh, it's all these different little things. Like the thing I haven't talked about at all is like you can go through the entire game without killing anybody. Like you can just talk to enemies, but when you talk to enemies, sometimes you have to like, it's not just simply, okay, say this thing, say this thing, say this thing, say this thing. One is like there's a bird that you find that likes telling jokes. So you have to laugh at its jokes so you have to like laugh at its jokes and then say it's doing a good job and maybe it can be a comedian one day. And it's like, oh, thanks, man. And then that's how you win the battle.
Okay, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, like there's another enemy who has a hat that he really loves. So like when you examine an enemy, it usually tells you something about it. Like the one I was describing before, it's like he's a failed comedian, but he wants to be a famous comedian one day, like his dad. Or another enemy, one will say like, oh, he really loves his hat. So you can compliment him on his hat, or you can steal his hat, or you can. So it's kind of like these things. Like as soon as you think you kind of understand the way the game works, it kind of twists it a little bit. Just like kind of like I had beaten a boss like really really late in the game. This is like not spoilery because there's just some item I kind of held on to the entire time because I was like, I don't really know what to do with this item. It just kind of gives me health, but I'll just kind of I'll hold on to it. And I held on for the entire game. And like the very end of the game, I showed it to like an enemy. And he's like, "Oh, hey, you're that guy." And then the battle just ends. I was like, "What the hell?"
That's kind of awesome. In my mind, I just keep picturing this. Like me and Doug played D&D with another couple people, and we've done this a few times where like we'll be like, "Oh yeah, these guys show up," and it'll be like, "Wait a minute, can we just talk to them instead of fighting them?" And it'll be, "Oh, well, I guess. Go ahead. What do you want to say?" And then all of a sudden, oh, we're not fighting them anymore. Like, in my mind, that's what I'm picturing, is you gotta get more control over what's going on with your situation as opposed to a Final Fantasy game where it's like, nope, this thing's gonna come kill you regardless of what you want or are going to do.
Yeah, it feels like, it's really strange because it feels like you're making a lot of kind of important choices whether you know it or not. Like, you can sort of like create these like little side stories like talking between characters. And like a lot of the monsters, like just there's some monsters that's like won't even attack you. They'll just like hang it out. Like one of my favorite. This isn't really a spoiler, but one of my favorite battles. It's just a normal battle, and one of the enemies that you fight is a guy called I don't know his name. His name's like Tim or something. And then when you like examine Tim, it says like nobody likes Tim or something like that. So like one of the options, like dialogue options, is to ditch Tim. So what happens is you ditch, and it says, like, you and all the monsters ditch Tim because Tim sucks. and so, like, Tim disappears, but if you let the battle keep going, like, Tim wanders back. And it's like all the monsters are suddenly disappointed because Tim returned.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I don't know if I would highly recommend it, just because, like I said, I played Cave Story, so and it kind of when I'm thinking about this game, it kind of have the same category as Cave Story. But if you've never played a game like Cave Story, you've never played an indie game that sort of likes to play with this stuff, I'd really, really recommend it. And the characters are kind of cool and weird, and the universe of the game is super, super strange. And I kind of wish that, Brad, I think you should actually play this so we can actually do a spoiler cast about it, because it's a really fun game to talk about. But it's a PC game. Yeah, but it runs on your PC. I promise it runs on your PC. I don't care what your PC is.
Yeah, but it's a PC game.
Yeah, but...
I'm trying to think right now, like, what the last game I played on a PC was. I think it was, like, Tropico 3, maybe?
If your PC can run... honestly, because you have a video game podcast, you should get Undertale, and we should talk about Undertale. And not just because, like, oh, everybody's talking about Undertale, we should talk about Undertale. We should...
How long is it?
I don't know, like, 8 hours, maybe 5 hours. I don't know, it's pretty short.
Okay.
I think I'm like 5 hours at the end of the boss.
Because I got Xenoblade and Fallout and other stuff waiting, and those are going to take me a bit.
Yeah.
But maybe. Who knows?
Maybe it's just...
Could be.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a game that kind of like, I sort of like lost myself, and I was kind of like, maybe I'll just see what it is. So I was like, it was like $7 or something. I was like, okay, sure, $7, whatever. And I think it's just a wholly unique experience that I kind of wish I'd see more games do. Like I think a lot of games sort of like we've talked about this before, like Walking Dead sometimes plays with the mechanics of how you talk to people and things can be like interrupted and things like that. And this is a game entirely based around messing with that stuff. So it's pretty cool. But if you're playing Xenoblade and Fallout, it's kind of like, well, I don't know.
Compared with the...
Yeah.
All right, so moving on here. So this is a game that I actually played before, but I bought Destiny the Taken King.
Mm-hmm.
It was super cheap, and there was some weird coupons and stuff, and basically I ended up getting it for $10. So I was like, well, why not?
Yeah.
So I played Destiny. Destiny was actually one of the first games I had. Well, not first, because it didn't come right out at launch. But in my mind, it's one of the first games I played on PlayStation 4. So it's been a year and a half since I even touched this. I know there were people who kind of kept up with it through all the different updates and everything, but I hadn't touched this game in probably at least a year, if not longer.
Yeah.
And going in and putting the Taken King in and starting that up, this is a completely different game than what the original Destiny is.
Is that a good thing, or?
Yes, in a very good way. Like, everything I thought about the first time through with Destiny, a lot of that is now better.
Like the issues you had, or what do you mean?
Yeah. So some of my issues with Destiny is it was hard to figure out what to navigate. It just seemed like it was kind of like randomly. They've put in like quest things now where there's actually a quest tracker and you can actually track and see, okay, these are the steps I need to do to finish this quest. And you actually have a quest list like you would in an RPG. That wasn't in Destiny before. It was just some guy said go do this, and that was the only thing you could really go do, and it never seemed very organized. Before, you could carry 5 of these bounty things, which are basically how you level up a couple of main pieces in the game. Now you can have like double that. My biggest issue with Destiny is the story didn't exist. The Taken King actually has a very thought out and laid out story that makes sense, and I actually kind of wanted to get through, as opposed to Destiny where halfway through I was like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't care. Nothing's going on. I'm just a guy with a gun in space shooting up things on planets. Great. This actually, there's a threat to what's going on. There's steps to go through to beat it. There's minor things in the way as you go through. It's got some really cool interdimensional things because basically you're you're trying to fight this guy who's come back to take over everything. And I don't know, it's very, very well done. And it feels like a very different game than what it originally was.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I was thinking about, I should have got this. I don't know why I didn't get around to actually getting it. Well, maybe that deal's still probably not going on.
It's not. It was like a 3-day deal. It was like the end of 1 week's prices with a coupon that worked for the next week, and they just happened to overlap for like a day.
Oh, okay. Oh, damn it.
Yep.
This game, like, do you need to play all the way through Destiny? Like, did you like load up your old Destiny character to start playing?
Yeah, I continued on from mine, but I think because I gave up on this game really early because I was just like, whatever, this isn't my thing. Like, I'm not feeling this. I was a super low-level character, and as soon as I logged back in with Taken King, the first thing I got is I went and talked to one guy, and he's like, here's this item. I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. Just give me an item. Like, the first guy I talked to was like, oh, this automatically boosts you up to level 25.
Oh.
I was like, oh, well, I'll just jump those 10 levels, thank you. So, no, I don't know if that's in it automatically, but story connection-wise, you're connected with like a couple of the characters from the first game, I think, are in there. Like I said, I couldn't even tell you what the story of Destiny was.
Yeah.
Because it was just, I didn't care by the end, and I started like skipping cutscenes and just like, oh, it's a cutscene. Okay, I'm going to go grab something to drink.
Oh,
like,
jeez.
The original story is bad. And I read this somewhere when I was looking at it, and somebody described it as, it feels like Destiny was a beta test for the Taken King.
Oh.
and that's almost what it feels like. Like, it's like, oh, all these really intuitive features that people would have wanted are here now. That's cool.
Oh, okay. It's the gameplay. Does like the gameplay radically change? I mean, there's probably I don't doubt. I mean, I've like read online. I know there's like a lot of like additions and things like that. But is the core gameplay sort of the same? And then the thing they just change is kind of like the.
It's the flow, the feeling of it, the world building aspect, just making everything seem more like there's something to do.
Okay.
Destiny, my biggest problem was once you played through everything, you had patrol missions where you could go out and sometimes you would have random missions assigned to you and randomly things would come up and you replay the same. It just seemed like a lot of that, whereas now there's much more laid out quests, there's much more things to do, and everything kind of makes sense. It also comes with the 2 expansion packs as well that actually had fairly good stories themselves, at least by Destiny standards. One of which almost serves as like a prequel to Taken King.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of
So
cool.
did you play through those first before you got into Taken King?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I played through those. In total, between all those, I think I probably put another 10 to 15 hours into Destiny from Taken King and those 2 expansion packs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, well worth it. And I think, I don't know, I was always on the feeling like Destiny felt like a really fun game, but it wasn't a really interesting game.
Oh, okay.
This kind of takes it and makes it a fun and interesting game. And if this game would have come out versus the original Destiny, I feel like I would have had a much better idea of what Bungie wanted to do with Destiny from the beginning.
Yeah. That's kind of.
This feels like they finally realized what they wanted.
Yeah, I heard a lot of it was based on like player feedback and stuff like that. So that's why I was kind of curious to hear, because like you were saying, I've heard that beta test comment before, where it's just like they just like radically change. It doesn't sound like they radically changed the gameplay. Like, it sounded like they just had like a really, really good core gameplay. It's just like you were saying, they changed everything else to make it a lot more intuitive.
Yeah, they basically just went through and said, what can we do to actually make this what people want? Which, again, is what you do after a beta test. So it definitely feels like that. Plus, you've got Nathan Fillion, who's the guy who talks to you the whole time, which that makes things better.
Is it Nathan? Wait, no. Are you sure it's Nathan Fillion? I'm pretty sure it's the guy who's Nathan Drake.
No. That's the guy who's the ghost.
Oh, Nathan. Wait. Both those guys are in that game?
So Nathan Fillion is, I don't remember the guy's name. He's like the government guy who like gives you the mission and like guides you through the mission.
Yeah.
Your ghost is, God, I think it's Nolan North.
Yeah.
Nolan North or the other guy.
No, it's definitely or the other guy, Troy Baker. it's definitely Nolan North though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Nolan North is your ghost now. He took over for Peter Dinklage, and then Nathan Fillion is kind of the guy who's like giving you missions, guiding you through what to do over like your comm the whole time. So it's actually kind of cool because Nathan Fillion and Nolan North kind of go back and forth a couple times. So it's just, I don't know, much better voice acting. It makes it seem much more important what you're doing as opposed to before, where it was just kind of like every now and then somebody would be like, go do this mission for you, and then you go do the mission, and then you come back and like, oh cool, thanks for doing it.
Yeah,
because now you've actually got somebody kind of guiding you through it.
Ah, damn. I hate when you talk about games like I just never plan on playing, and then you make them sound good. Like I just like Destiny was like, I don't know, I played it, I thought it was kind of neat, just never thought I would play it. It's like, crap, maybe if Taken King's $10 again, then I'll actually.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a much better game now. I could definitely recommend it now much more than I would have been able to a year ago or a year and a half ago or whenever it came out. All right, moving on here. Drawn to Death.
Yes.
You spent some time with this. Did this full game come out?
No,
or
it's like
beta?
super
this
in the beta.
right?
Yeah, it's like super in beta. Yeah.
Okay, I thought so because I feel like there was like nothing about this, and then you said, "Oh, I'm playing Drawn to Death," and I was like, that's a thing already."
Yeah. Yeah, Drawn to Death is definitely a thing. It's
hopefully.
Yeah, no, Drawn to Death is such a cool, weird game that people are going to hate. I know, just like now, I played it and I was like, I had a lot of fun with it. I just know people are going to hate this game. I know like the first thing out of people's mouth, like, oh, this is one of those games that's trying to be cool. So if you haven't heard of Drawn to Death is David Jaffe's new game. Who he did God of War, he did Twisted Metal, he did Calling All Cars. I know he did some other stuff.
Fancy PlayStation
games. Yeah, but his whenever you hear David Jaffe talk, like his big thing is always mechanics. Like he just wants to have really, really, really solid mechanics. And so what Drawn to Death is kind of like a third person Unreal Tournament with. I don't know if the weapons are unique. It's kind of like, that's the best way to describe it. It's Unreal Tournament, third person, but the sort of wrapping paper on it, like the art design and stuff, I think is really, really cool. And some people are just gonna absolutely effing hate so much.
This is the game that's supposed to be like high school kids' notebook, right?
Yeah. Actually, this game kind of like when I started up, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know how this game's. I've heard some mixed opinions about it because some people really didn't like that. It is like an angsty teenager writing in a sketchbook, kind of like how I like DMC because I felt DMC was a really good example of like teen angst. This is a really good example of teen angst. It kind of just like revels in it. How the game starts, I thought was so cool. And I know people are going to talk about it when the full version comes out. It's actually going to be a free-to-play game, and I know you're already like, ah, crap.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that before.
Yeah, no, it's going to be free-to-play. I know, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really get into the free-to-play aspects. But anyway, so when I start up the game, it just says, like, Sony Computer Entertainment America presents. It doesn't say Drawn to Death. What happens is you're in a classroom, like an actual live-action classroom, and a professor's giving a lecture on CPR. And you can like look around the classroom, and it's actually like video. It's an actual video of like people like, and they like look back at you, and there's like a jock guy and like throw paper at you and stuff.
And you actually, are you controlling this, or is it just
no? You can look around, like you can actually like look around the classroom. Okay. And like sometimes people like look back at you, but the guy's giving like an actual lecture. Like you're actually learning how to do CPR. And I was like, whoa, what the hell is going on? And then from that point on, you look down, and your character's like taking notes. And then that's like the main menu screen. It's kind of, it reminds me a lot of is Brutal Legend.
I was gonna say, as soon as you started describing that, I'm picturing the record coming down in Brutal Legend, where it's the actual like vinyl record that comes down as your menu.
Yeah, no, it's a lot like that. So it's like his notebook, and you can sit there and like choose matches and stuff like that. So I really like that. It's kind of cool because you can still sort of hear the lecture going on in the background, but it's sort of muffled. So when you start a game, so you can like pick your characters, and your characters are all kind of like just kind of stuff like you would probably sketch as like a middle schooler. Like there's a guy called like Cyborgula who's like a Dracula / cyborg, and his head opens up and shoots rockets. One of the weapons you have is a bow and arrow, and instead of an arrow tip, it has a Hulk hand, like a detached zombie hand, and then it blows up when you hit people with it. And the levels are really cool. Like one is like an alien invasion, and it's like this big, gigantic octopus thing, like tearing up buildings and stuff. And I don't know, like the actual gameplay to me isn't super exciting because it really is like a third-person shooter. You're jumping around shooting guys, and but I really really love the sort of the arty aspects of it. And like when you start a match, like your main menu screen kind of like flips to like some sketches, and then your character like falls into the pages. So like as your character's like falling, you see like all the sketches get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you see like this tiny little sketch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you see this tiny little sketch of the arena getting bigger, and you like drop down. You can actually like drop down and hit guys. So it's got like kind of like an orbital strike sort of thing, or something like that. So you can like really pick on the map like exactly where you want to land and where you want to spawn. Really, really cool game. I feel like this game is gonna be super divisive when it comes out, just because the art style. Because I don't know. I like it. People are gonna hate it though. It makes me sad because it's like clear that like the artists are just having a lot of fun with this game. It just seems like this game seems like it was just made with fun, and people aren't gonna like that.
Yeah. So other than cool artistic things, is this any different than generic standard arena shooter? Is there anything that separates it from that other than the aesthetics?
I want to say yes, but no, not really. It is pretty much just like. It's a fun shooter. It's like a fun arena shooter. Actually, you remember that like Xbox Unreal Tournament? It's kind of like that.
Unreal Championship.
Yeah. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. I played the hell out of Unreal.
Yeah, so I mean, if you had fun,
I have a PC.
Like I like the game. I think that like the general game is pretty fun. Like to me, I was enjoying myself. I wouldn't say it's like it's God's gift to man, or it's like holy crap, this is completely redefines third person shooting. But I had fun with it.
But I mean, I can't even think of the last good, just straight arena shooter.
Yeah.
In vein of the Unreal Tournament that I can't even think of the last one that I played.
Yeah, and they definitely don't have them on consoles very often. So.
Exactly. So that alone makes me kind of excited just because Unreal Tournament I never played too much of, but I played it like on the Dreamcast, which is not
the best way to play
Unreal Tournament. But like, Unreal Championship I played so much of on the original Xbox, so that alone makes me interested just because I love those games, and they've kind of died out, and you get more of the objective-based stuff now taking the lead. So
yeah, so and the thing is, it's free. It's gonna be free to play, so it's gonna be something like if you're like, oh, this is so dumb, like you can at least try it before you buy it. So well, you don't even have to buy it. Like, and it's it kind of looks like League of Legends. Where you can like buy characters, and I'm not really sure how the free to play works. It kind of wasn't like really functioning. It was like clearly still in beta format, so I couldn't really tell how the free to play works. So hopefully, I'll probably play more in the future when like the next beta comes out, and then I can actually talk a little bit more about that.
Nice. So if you don't know by now, Star Wars is a big deal again, which makes me really happy.
Oh yeah,
yeah. go see that movie.
Why did we not? We should have talked about that. I'm surprised we didn't actually talk about. I mean, we've talked about it like off the podcast, but that'd been pretty good.
We haven't done a podcast in 2.5 weeks, and it only showed up for like a minute before that. So anyway, when Battlefront first came out, they put out the special PlayStation 4 limited edition console that came with a fancy controller, and you also got all these classic PlayStation games. Bounty Hunter, Racer Revenge, and Jedi Starfighter, and then the new Super Star Wars HD remaster remake.
So you got like one good game and a bunch of garbage.
Hey, I'm talking about these games, not you. So you got 3 good games and kind of a pile of garbage. But anyway, what they actually did, and there were a couple of sites selling these online, is that they started selling off codes to get these games for $15. So you get Super Star Wars and the 3 PlayStation games for $15, which, considering they're selling PlayStation 2 games now for $15, seemed like a pretty good deal to me.
Yeah.
So I spent a whole bunch of time playing these classic Star Wars games, and I've said this before, but I can't wait for more Star Wars games. I forgot how good Star Wars games are.
Are they okay? Before I know you're going to get into this, before you get into this, are they actually good games? If you yank out, like, I feel like Battlefront is one you could probably like, oh, you can't even play a Battlefront if it's not Star Wars. Like, they're so attached to each other that like Battlefront is Star Wars is Battlefront. Okay, but with these games, I feel like you can separate them a little bit more. Are they good games if they aren't Star Wars games?
They're okay games if they're not Star Wars games.
Okay.
So I played through all of Jedi Starfighter, which is like a prequel, I think, to Episode 2.
Holy crap, these games are old.
No, these are all early, well, not early, mid-generation PS2 games, for the most part. All of them are set right around Episode 2, which I thought was odd games to go with, because there's other games to go with that aren't right around Episode 2, which is not a great Star Wars movie. But anyway... Jedi Starfighter, it's basically just like it's like Ace Combat in space. And again, I've talked about this before, that like space games are way better than air combat games.
It's entirely a preference.
You're in space. How is that not awesome?
I think that's like entirely a preference. You just like state that as a fact. It's supposed entirely
it is a fact. It is a fact. Space games are better than... Who wants to fly through clouds when you can fly around planets?
I don't know. There's like 10 Ace Combat games, so probably those people.
There's like 10 Jedi or Star Wars Starfighter games in some sense or another.
Yeah.
But anyway, that game, like, I guess they're okay. I sat down and played through all of that one in like 2 days, which isn't a good... I wasn't working, so that's not a great accomplishment. But yeah, I don't know. It's what I liked about these is you can definitely tell there's some upscale from the PS2 games, and it kind of made me understand why they're charging a bit more for these PS2 games, because when you play the PS1 classics, it's just the straight PlayStation 1 game. There's nothing there to it.
Yeah.
These games definitely look better than what they originally did. They don't, I mean, not head and shoulders above it, not, oh man, this could be a PS4 game. It's definitely a PS2 game, but it's what a PS2 game looks like in my mind, not what it looks like when I go and play it on PS2.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounded like some of like those HD remasters we've seen, like Final Fantasy X and...
it's not like quite that good. Yeah, it's not quite that good, but they definitely did some stuff to it. And in my mind, like, this is what a PlayStation 2 game looked like when going back and actually playing PlayStation 2 games on a PlayStation 2. It definitely didn't.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes me think, okay, that $15 price tag, there's something going on there that's doing that.
Yeah. I mean, there's like work being put into it, clearly.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the trophies and things, stuff like that, you know, whatever. You can, however you feel about trophies. But I don't know. It was fun to go back and visit these. It makes me want more Star Wars games, which is good.
Mission accomplished on their part.
That's all they wanted to do, is they wanted to be like, remember we made Star Wars games at one point? Weren't those cool?
Yeah, like, well, I guess like breaking the games individually, like, which is like, how'd you feel about like Super Star Wars? Like, that was the one actually I kind of want to get.
So the PS2 games, Jedi Starfighter, it's fine. It's a Starfighter game. You go around and you shoot stuff in space. Bounty Hunter, which was one of my favorites, feels really dated mechanically.
Yeah.
And just plays like an early generation PS2 game, so it's just kind of like, whatever. Like, that one I only played maybe half of, just because I got sick of the controls, and I kept dying because of dumb things like constant waves of enemies and things like that that you just don't really see in terms of game design anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, okay, I'm done with this. I remember this. It was good. Yes, great. Race Revenge I played for a minute or two. That one wasn't too good. But that one never was to begin with. But Super Star Wars was probably the best one out of the group. And that one you can tell they put the most work in. I mean, that does look really pretty. I played it on Vita.
Oh,
great game to play on Vita.
Vita.
That game, I don't remember. I had that for my Super Nintendo. I do not remember that game being that hard.
Well, yeah, I've heard the game is like insane. Did you actually beat it or no?
I beat it on easy they put in like a save state function so you can just instantly save the game whenever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I beat it and abused the hell out of that. Like, I sat down and I tried it, like, just, okay, I remember this. I could beat this when I was a kid. Like, I feel like I beat this when I was, 8 or 9 years old. I should be able to do this. I definitely didn't beat that game when I was 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
But I could get through maybe like the first couple levels and then I'd go back and die and it's like, oh, start back over at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, save state. So, the game is hard. It's a great platformer, though. The platforming, the level design, everything like that holds up. It feels like a new game. There's nothing in my mind that would... If you like 2D platformers, it's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Just go in knowing use the damn save states or you'll be pissed off. There's a couple of vehicle levels that they didn't work on Super Nintendo and they still don't work now.
Yeah. That was like that like Mode 7 graphics where it's like kind of fake 3D or whatever.
Yep, it had all the vehicle sections had that where it's like you can't see anything coming until you're about to run into it, and you're basically just turning in place and hoping stuff doesn't hit you, but you're also trying to. It doesn't work great, but yeah, no, it was a fun game. I don't think it's worth the $10 they're selling it for, but when that goes on sale, I'd highly recommend that you buy it.
So, like of all of them, Super Star Wars is probably the best one to get.
Yeah, the other three, I kind of understand now, like, playing them, why they're not selling those individually, because they still aren't, even though they've been available for going on 3 months now. Mm-hmm. None of those, I feel like if I would have paid $15 individually for those, would not have been too pleased, just because they don't hold up that well. And I think the games they picked, like Dark Cloud and Grand Theft Auto, those are games that are going to hold up much better than these did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Cool. I'm going to pick up Super Star Wars, because damn, it's usually like, oh, you can play it on Vita. It's like, oh shit, that would be a great Vita game.
Yeah, it was.
There's a lot of games. Oh yeah, they need to bring this is totally random. They need to bring Undertale to Vita. Vita, like, if that game came out on Vita, that'd be so good. Yeah. So good. All right, continue.
The moral of the story, go see Star Wars. It's a great movie. Mm-hmm. It's made like $8 bajillion, so I'm assuming you already have.
Yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, I can't imagine somebody who listens to this podcast hasn't seen Star Wars.
There's going to be one person who hasn't seen Star Wars who's just, I hate Star Wars.
That's probably true.
Go see Star Wars, it's awesome. Mm-hmm. And also play Super Star Wars.
Right.
Moving on. Far Cry 4.
Yeah.
This was your first Far Cry game since the first one, right?
Yeah, I feel like I might have talked a little bit about this on the podcast, but I actually kind of spent more time with it lately, so I kind of wanted to like talk about it again. Yeah, it was my first Far Cry since Far Cry 1, and I haven't really played any like Ubi bloat games. Like, everyone talks about, like...
What was that?
Ubi bloat? I don't know how you describe it. Like, you know how Ubisoft games just have, like, a ton of shit to do, and it's, like, none of it really means anything?
Did you just make up a word, or is that actually...
I don't know. I feel like I must have read that somewhere. But, like, it was something I'd always heard about.
Ubi bloat.
It's something I always heard about. It's like, oh, man, these games are so bloated with, like, crappy content. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, like, okay, probably. I just never played one of these. But, yeah. I feel... This game deserves better than being a Far Cry game. Is the best.
What do you mean?
Yeah, that's kind of where I kind of start. It's because everything amazing about this game is immediately destroyed and made completely irrelevant by Far Cry's gameplay. So
wait, when you say Far Cry's gameplay, do you mean the actual core mechanics of shooting and driving around and exploring, or do you mean like the holy shit, why do I have to do so much garbage?
I would say it's a combination of both. Like okay. Do you know how a lot of people complain that BioShock Infinite's gameplay didn't really? It's a really really heavy shooter, didn't really fit the story, or the context. This is like the worst I've ever seen in that regard, because the game takes place in the Himalayas, and it actually it's oh man, the art in this game is gorgeous, which makes me so mad that I don't like it. It kind of takes all these inspiration from these different cultures within the Himalayas and kind of mixes and matches them. And it's really, there's some really, really gorgeous art, because I guess a lot of like a lot of the art they do is this really, really highly detailed, very, very colorful looking thing. So there's a lot of areas that are kind of inspired just by the colors. So you look on these areas that are just these gorgeous landscapes, and like every character model looks really detailed, and like there's clearly some sort of they're clearly like referencing something they directly saw while doing research, and it's like put on themselves, then put on the characters. Like the clothing is all really unique, but god damn, does the Far Cry gameplay just suck? And it sucks because it doesn't give you any time to actually appreciate any of this. Anything that's cool about the game, that game doesn't want you to sit around.
Because you have to run through it so fast?
Well, it's not that you have to run through it so fast, but the game constantly nags you about like other stuff around you. So, like, let's say it's like, oh, I'll go to this. It's like, okay, let's say I just want to go to an area. Like, as you're just like walking to an area, there's constantly all these like little notifications, like, oh, go there. Oh, wait, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It's not like you're actually discovering it. It's like you have like these like, little dings of notifications and shit that or like you look at your mini map, and as like you're walking along, you'll just see like a billion things on your mini map to like pass. So at first that's kind of cool. It's like, oh, there's all these cool things to explore. But what you find out is that like each of these like little things to explore and pick up, you've seen them before. Like after like 4 hours, I feel like I've seen a vast majority of this game, because it's sort of just like it takes these kind of core art assets and just sort of like mixes them around in like different configurations. Okay. So like one tower, like the jumping's a little bit different, but the tower still has like the exact same wood roof, the exact same I don't know, ladders and stuff. They're just in sort of like different configurations. So I never really felt like I should like go explore anything, because whatever I got, I'd probably pick up on the side of the road anyway, or just find another place like later on.
Yeah, and I actually know what you're saying, because it almost seems like you're more going from just like dot to dot as opposed to actually exploring, which is, I'm going to talk about it towards the end here. I just started playing Xenoblade Chronicles, and I put in like 4 or 5 hours into that, maybe only 3 or 4, but that game makes you want to explore, because as soon as you start that game, you just start seeing the weirdest looking shit. And you can go wherever you want from the beginning, and it's just like, there's no necessarily specific collectible things, so to speak. There's quests that ask you to collect things, but from the get-go, I just wanted to walk around and see all these weird giant-ass monsters.
Yeah, and this game just like doesn't have that, and which is really disappointing. And if god dang, this game's like so hard to talk about. Actually, when I'm thinking about like when I'm playing this game, it's not that it's a bad game, but it kind of reminds me of playing Solitaire. Brad, how do you like Solitaire? It's like, it's so, or like Minesweeper.
When I'm bored, it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's kind of, it's not, I don't know if fun's the right word. It's just like, it just feels like I'm kind of passing the time. And it really sucks because this gorgeous art is in it, and the gameplay just kind of feels like passing the time. That art kind of just doesn't matter. Like, some of the stuff they have is like insanely detailed. Like they have these cool like little prayer wheels. I don't know if you've ever seen like on National Geographic, like these kind of like large cylinders, and you spin them.
Oh yeah.
But like there's like all this like really tiny text on it. It's all made of brass, and it's like really gorgeous. But like the whole thing is like you spin it, and then you like unlocked. It's like, oh, you spun a prayer wheel, and like a little notification will pop up.
So it's like the fireworks at the end of Solitaire. Yeah. Like, oh, those are pretty.
But it's not even. Yeah, but it's like, yeah. Well, it's actually more like the dialogue box that comes up that says "you win."
Or like the cards shuffling around.
Yeah. It's just like it's like a really minor. It's like, oh, okay, all right, sure. It just feels like none of the items you pick up feel like they mean anything. It's just kind of like filling whatever bar you need. Like you're filling your little. I don't know. I got 5 animal skins, and now I can make a wallet. Okay. Well, there's still like got to pick 100 more animal skins. And actually, probably the most disappointing. This is kind of getting into a little bit of spoiler territory.
It's Far Cry, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's actually the coolest. The part where I kind of thought like, God damn this game, was there's a part where you basically do drugs, or you have like a vision of a guy, of a native person going into Shangri-La, which is sort of like this, basically the Garden of Eden. And when you're walking through it, the art design is just gorgeous. Like there's like the rivers are completely red. It's not red with blood. They're just like red rivers. And like there's all these like red leaves falling, and these gigantic Buddha statues, and there's like these bells, and there's these really weird demon things with these really ornate masks and stuff like that. But as you're going through it, you have all these like little notifications. Like I literally got a notification that said "Explore Shangri-La." I was like, "What? What? That's what
I'm doing that." Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's just like, it kind of like completely kills it. It has like the same UI as the rest of the game. So like you're in some sort of like mystical fantasy realm, and it has like a little like yellow hexagon that says "Go here." It's like, hey, no, like you killed that. Like and like you get a tiger you can control, and the tiger's like this mystic sort of. It's this white tiger that you find, and I don't know, you have the sacred spear, and you can tell the tiger to go attack the demons, and like they puffs in smoke, and it's really cool, but it just still has all this like stupid UI shit that kind of like kills whatever you're doing. It just feels like
it just takes you out
and you're
of
just checking off boxes again. And I don't know, it just feels like any little step forward this game could have made is hampered by stupid shit that just kind of, man, I'm sorry, I'm mad about this game. As I'm talking more and more about it, it's because I feel like this game could have been one of those like really game-changing, great games if it wasn't a Far Cry game.
See, and what's interesting about this is as you're talking, so many things you're bringing up, I'm just picturing in my mind things from Far Cry 3.
Oh yeah, I've never played Far Cry.
Exact same thing as this, and it pissed me off then.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of the like tribal like. You're going into doing this thing, and it's all this kind of like crazy mystical stuff. But yeah, here's your little notification. Here's this. Did you check over there for this? Remember, this is here. And it's just like, oh well, okay. So I guess I'm not supposed to be going, ooh, pretty. I'm supposed to be going, oh right, wolf. Oh right,
yeah.
Need to get that rock.
Yeah, it feels like playing like a cell phone game or something, where like you're just like filling bars. Like, oh, did you collect all your berries for today? It's like, yeah, I guess. All right, sure. Yeah, it's just, damn.
Anyway, Far Cry 4, great at airports. So, to another game that is not great. So, we've mentioned a couple times on here, and Doug gives me shit about it for it every time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed/liked Final Fantasy 13, and enjoyed/liked Final Fantasy 13 too, even a little bit more than that. So... I finally broke down because it was like $20 and decided time for Lightning Returns.
Have you actually played through 13.2 and 13 like all the way?
I have played through the main story in both. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So you actually know the story of like Lightning, and this is like the final.
Yeah, and the Fal'Cie, and how she's the savior, and she was in Valhalla, and how there's an end of the world, but then it wasn't the end of the world, and there was an end of the world, and this time it wasn't the end of the world, and now there's another end of the world, and this time the second game, the main character from the first game died, and the third game, the main character from the second game died, but the first character from the first game is... Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on in this. And basically, so I've played maybe 10, 15 hours of this, so probably halfway-ish through it. I've heard it's about 20, 30 hours, so maybe halfway through this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm about done.
Well, I played the demo for it, and I actually felt the combat was like super awesome.
Combat is super cool. This game had Square realized about halfway through the development that Final Fantasy 13 in the series concept at this point is overdone, confusing, and nobody gives a shit. Entitled this Final Fantasy 812.2, and just completely removed every question from Final Fantasy, or every piece of information from Final Fantasy 13 from this. It would have been a much, much, much better game. The combat is awesome. The main concept of this game is basically like, it's the end of the world, and Lightning has to go through and try and save the world in 5 days.
Yeah.
And time of the day periods matter, and basically it works kind of where the entire game is open from the beginning.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
You go down, and the game has 5 main quests. Mm-hmm. There's 4 areas, 5 main quests. And basically you go through, and you just have to finish these 5 quests in these 7 days.
Oh, okay.
Certain things unlock at different times. So, for example, like on day 1, I got to the point where, okay, there's a phone that's only, or these people, to investigate this cult that are killing people, you have to be there between 12 and 2 to answer this phone call and give them the secret password. Well, it's 8 at night. Okay, so I've got 4 hours, so I'll take the train to this other area. I'll explore a little bit, work on that one, come back at 12 o'clock, answer the phone.
That's really cool.
And then go, yeah, like some of the mechanics and the ideas behind this game are great. But everything so far, and again, spoilers if you care, everything is directly related to like another Final Fantasy character, 13 character. So it's like, oh yeah, the Shadow Hunter's coming in. The Shadow Hunter, he's going to end the world, and he's going to defeat the Savior, and da-da-da. And it's the other main character for Final Fantasy 13 too. In the opening scene, you're going to this town, and the leader of the town now is one of the main characters from Final Fantasy 13.
Oh.
And the guy guiding you through is the kid from Final Fantasy 13 who was an adult in Final Fantasy 13 too, and is now a kid again because time works that way in this game.
Oh.
So like everything's just got these weird interconnected pieces, and there's this demon that's like haunting you because you're the savior, and you can't tell like what she's really doing. And she's this really cool demonic character and everything, but she looks just like your sister who died in the other game.
Oh.
So it's like, okay, so I know where this is going already.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot. It's just hampered by that, but the combat system, I love it. It's great. So basically, you assign attacks. You get different outfits, and each outfit has a different set of attacks. It has different HP levels, different attack levels, different magic levels, all that stuff. So basically, you only fight as Lightning, and you can still have that party aspect where you have, like, for me right now, I have basically a debuff costume, an a physical attack costume, and a magic costume.
Oh, okay.
And I just cycle through those as you go through.
Damn, that's like why'd you stop playing then if the mechanics, because like the mechanics you described are pretty cool, and then I know I had some annoyances with like everything is Final Fantasy 13 in it. Is it just those like minor annoyances with like the characters and story that are just kind of?
It's just I've experienced the gameplay for like enough time that I don't really feel like yeah, this is a cool game to play. It's kind of fun to play, but I just don't care about doing any of the stuff and like the like Final Fantasy small tasks in between the combat. You know what I'm talking about? Like the go walk through town and find this. Now we have to have this. And it's like I don't really want to sit through the hour of that to get to the 45 minutes of combat to sit through another half hour of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, I can kind of understand. Yeah, it's just damn.
Yeah. And plus, I just got Xenoblade, so that kind of crushed
it. It kind of, for everything you said, it kind of sounds like a game that was not Final Fantasy 13-3 to begin with. Like, it's like, hey, we got these really cool ideas for a game. But yeah, we'll actually make that game, but you got to put Lightning in it and all the Final Fantasy.
Well, and again, to be fair, like, it kind of works because Lightning was always kind of this, like, she was working for Valhalla and God and all these other, like, angelic references in Final Fantasy 13 too, and they kept talking about the end of the world and how to prevent the end of the world in Final Fantasy 13 too. So it does connect story-wise. It's just that story is so overloaded with details and tiny little pieces that you have to remember for the course of, 8 years worth of time now from the original Final Fantasy 13. It's just weighed down by all that.
Damn.
But
that's a bummer. I might. I kind of want to give it a rent just to see what it was, just because if I don't care about that stuff, then I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but the issue is you have to sit through it all.
Oh,
you have to sit through the cutscenes. Like before you get to the combat, you've got to sit through like the 45-minute intro.
Yeah.
And before you actually get to the full combat system, you got to sit through like the first hour or two of getting your costumes and all that. So it's like,
that sounds a lot like Final Fantasy X too, which had like super super cool gameplay, but like a really hit or miss story and stuff.
Exactly. It is exactly like Final Fantasy X too. It is that exact same thing where it's like, man, this is fun to play, but man, I don't want to deal with all the story aspect of this.
Yeah.
But, yeah. All right. Couple more here. Amplitude.
Yeah.
The new one, not the old one.
No, not.
So you actually bought this?
I did actually buy this.
Why?
Because well, okay. First of all, why? Okay, we need to discuss. So, just to give some context to what's been going on with me and Brad and Amplitude. So, Amplitude demo came out, I don't know,
4 or 5 days.
4 or 5 days ago. Brad, how many hours have you put into the Amplitude demo?
2 or 3.
More than that. There's no way you have more than that. What is your ranking in those? Like what, top 10% or something?
I'm top 10% in all 3 of the demo songs, yes. Top 5 in one of them, or at least when I turned it on a day or two ago, I still was.
Yeah, okay, so...
But no, like 2 or 3 hours.
Okay, still, that's 2 or 3 hours on 3 songs. And your logic for not buying this game is... I heard the soundtrack isn't great.
It's $20, and I'm not really into electronic music, and... Yeah, that's about it.
But how can you play... How can you play those 3 songs for 3 hours, like an hour each, and then be like, I'm not really into the soundtrack? Like, what?
Because I don't care for the songs. I like the gameplay.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right, I guess. But I'm just saying, like, there's 30 more songs you can play and have a whole gamut of different gameplay.
Yeah, see, I could, but I don't know. I just, like, in my mind, I'm not going to like any of those songs any more than this. I might as well just play these 3 songs when, in my mind, the other ones are going to sound very similar. and I'm not gonna like those anymore. So why not just stick with these?
I will say though that I bought the game because I'm actually not nearly as good at this game as Brad is because I'm not very good at Guitar Hero and Rock Band. I know you're like
Yeah, your scores suck, by the way. Like as soon as I turned
yeah.
it on, I think I beat you like all three the first time by like 30 or 40%.
Yeah, probably because I can only play like on advanced, like if I'm lucky, and like sometimes I have to turn down the difficulty even in advanced, like normal.
Yeah, that was my next goal for the demo. Is I was really close to 100%ing a couple of them on expert, the first and second song. That was kind of my next thing if I go back to it.
But yeah. So, anyways, I got this game not because actually I got this game because not because I thought the gameplay was okay. I actually just really like the art in the game. Like that's why I bought it.
It is really pretty.
It's super cool, and there's actually a story.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's really strange because I followed the Kickstarter for like a little bit because I was like, ooh, Amplitude. I was one of the people. I think Brad, you too, are kind of like, ooh, oh my god, they're bringing back Amplitude. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So one of the art like the ideas behind the art is they wanted to do this like weird mix of organic and like technology. So everything in the game feels like it has like everything has like a very like metallic sheen, but it also has like this like really like weird organic movement. I really really like that. And the story is kind of weird. I'm gonna say story very lightly. If you play the demo, when you start the game, it says like starting up Sarah OS or something like that.
Well, it talks about your brainwaves and stuff too, and things like that.
Yeah. So like, I'm not sure. I still haven't quite figured out the story, but it seems like they're doing some sort of experiment on somebody's brain, and you are seeing the experiment happen through the eyes of whose ever brain getting experimented on. And then for some reason, music has something to do with this. I don't know. But I don't know. I love the art, and I just thought it was like a really gorgeous game. I haven't played too much of it, and I will say though, like the soundtrack is okay. I need to play more of it. I think I've only gotten through like the first two worlds. But like when I bought the game, so you get like 3 songs in the demo. Like the 4th song that I got, like when you actually got the full version, it just wasn't very good. Like it was clear, like they're like, we should stop the demo here.
At what point does these songs not get great?
Yeah,
and we don't want to give those away for free. We'll give
And it kind of felt like there hasn't been a song yet. Like, ooh, I want to go back and replay that one really good. But like this game too. Actually, I didn't buy it until I put headphones on. Like I'd been playing it without headphones.
Oh, you're playing it wrong.
Yeah, I know exactly. When I put on headphones, like whoa.
Yeah, it makes a world of difference.
And I just want to play more of that because I liked how even if the music was like I was okay with the music, I loved how the music like played in your headphones. It's like it's crazy because it feels like it's all over. It's like all around you.
See, and to me at this point, because the songs are what matter to me, I'd much rather sit down and play Rock Band Blitz again. Which is essentially a very similar game. It's definitely different aesthetically, but in terms of gameplay-wise, it's very, very similar, because that was kind of the spiritual successor, so to speak, of Amplitude. And to me, I have that game where it's got 400 licensed songs that I helped pick because I paid so much for the damn DLC over and over again. That I would much rather sit down and play that because it has music that I'm enjoying, whereas this, it's like, yes, I like the idea of doing this, but I'd much rather sit down and play songs that are good, or not necessarily good, because I don't even know if these songs are good or not, but it's music that's more appealing to me personally.
Yeah, I can sort of feel that, and the thing is, like when I was playing the songs, I noticed like I feel like what happened with Amplitude is that because they use a lot of licensed song, it really, really screwed up any potential re-release of it in the future. So like all of this is original music and none of it's licensed, and I was kind of hoping like. Sound Shapes, like they met up with like some artists and they collaborated on it, and I'm surprised that they didn't. At least I didn't feel like they did it with this one. Maybe I just haven't gotten those songs yet, but I feel like this game would have been like amazing if it was like, okay, we're making a song with like Deadmau5, or we're making a song with, I don't know, electronic artists. It's not like a lot of electronic artists donated their songs to this game. It's kind of like they had to come with their own.
Yeah.
Rather than a lot of, because it kind of feels like it all comes from the sort of the same place. The songs sound kind of similar. Well, I really wish that they had sort of found a name to attach to it.
And I'm shocked that with harmonics pull in the music industry at this point. I mean, Rock Band did a lot for a lot of bands.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked that they couldn't try and get something together. I mean, I feel like the Kickstarter for this was just like in September or something. Like the Kickstarter was not that long.
Yeah. I mean, no, it was before that.
Within a year.
Yeah, it's been about a year. I'd say it's about a year. Yeah.
So I mean, if you figure a year, and I don't know. I'm just assuming maybe licensing issues or even just monetarily, they probably still would have had to pay somebody something with Kickstarter and everything. That's the only thing I can think of why it's not, because
the thing with like Rock Band is Rock Band was made with MTV.
but again, like Guitar Hero and stuff wasn't. And
no, but that was made with Activision money. Like it's like those games had like a lot of money behind them, and it's like this one just clearly just didn't. So they kind of like blew it out on the visual, so like looks fucking amazing on the visuals. Like I just love how this game looks. But yeah, it's just like because it's kind of missing that. It's because it's missing the license. I wouldn't even want licensed music. I would just like to hear bands that that maybe created something unique. So the songs sound more unique between each other. I mean, you can do all electronic, but just don't make all electronic by the same band.
Yeah, and again, just having different people's inputs on things always helps.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last game on the list here, and this I'm just going to talk about for a minute because we are going to be talking about this for a while because it's long and I'm slow.
So is this like Brad's Bloodborne?
What do you mean?
Like where it's just going to come up forever?
Yep, I have a feeling. Yeah. So I started playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, and oh my god, this game is my new favorite game after the first 4 hours. I freaking love this game. So it starts out with space, and then you see a big-ass thing start flying over top, which is basically like dramatic Star Wars beginning. And the opening cutscene is basically how these aliens just came and had this war above Earth and just blew the shit out of Earth. So Earth sends out all these life pods all over the place, like these giant city-sized, even bigger than that, life pods full of people to all these different places. Mm-hmm. And you're on one of them that crash lands on this planet that you call Mira. And the game basically starts with, you've been there 2 months, you've been in stasis since Earth blew up, you're out, and you go, and you just, like, one of the colonels in the army finds you and brings you back to the city. Mm-hmm. And just walking around this game world, this is one of just walking around this world and seeing stuff is so cool. Within 20 minutes, like, I fought, like, my little, the little, like, buffalo-looking guy who was a level 1 enemy, and I kept walking for maybe another 20 minutes, and there is this gigantic, like, skyscraper-sized dinosaur-looking thing that just says level 54 above it. Like, I'm just, like, looking, like, holy crap. And then next to it, there's this, like, little herd of these, like, half as tall things that say level 34 above it. And then in the corner, there's, like, this little buffalo guy again that says level 2. I'm like, yeah, I can kill that one.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So it just instantly gives you this, like, this picture of the scale of this game. And it instantly makes me go, okay, I need to start leveling up so I can go kill that thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't hide it from you. It's not like, oh, eventually there's going to be something cool that I can fight. It's like, there's a cool thing you can fight. You better get your ass working so you can actually fight that thing.
That's actually really cool. Oh, so it kind of like gives you like a goal, like sort of like, because I know they sort of did something like that, like Final Fantasy 13. Like they have like one giant tortoise thing, but this is like constantly like they're like, oh, look at all these cool things you'll get to kill in the future, sort of thing.
Yeah, and just as you walk around, you see more and more of them, and it's just like, ooh, can I fight that? Oh, no, I'm level 8. Like, I think I'm at, like, level 8 or 9 right now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, level 12, probably shouldn't try that. Okay, run past him. Okay, ooh, here's level... Ooh, I haven't fought that thing. Let's try that.
Yeah.
So it's just, the enemies are so unique, and, I mean, I don't know how much this was... I didn't really look at anything for this game, like, outside of a trailer or two before it came out. I kind of already knew what it was. But, so maybe light spoilers here, but, like... 3 or 4 hours in where I'm in, I just got to the point where you find out, oh, there's other, like, sentient aliens on this planet that can, like, talk to you and are pissed about humans being here.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So it's like, originally I thought it was just kind of like a Monster Hunter game where it's like, okay, you're going to have quests to Achilles, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, there's aliens that don't like Earth people here. Like, ooh, okay, that's a new... ooh.
That's kind of... Oh, so you're kind of like the invader in the story, I guess.
Essentially, well, it sounds like, yeah, I just, like, literally I stopped playing, like, right after I met these people. So it sounds like they might not be native either, I don't know, but
yeah.
I don't know, it just, because it starts out and it was, like, so cool, and then that came up, I was like, oh my god, this got better, like, how, this game I was already loving every second of just got better, like, how did that happen?
Yeah, how's the combat? Like, it's sort of fake real-time, kinda, or how does that work?
It's real-time, you control your character. And then there's, right now I've got 2, I don't know how many it goes up to, but I've got 2 characters who fight alongside me, and basically it's, you have a melee and a ranged weapon.
Yeah.
Which basically auto-fire as you go through, and then you've got a bar that has, I want to say, 10 abilities on it, and you can kind of click through, like, when you can use them, and those are all time-based. You have total movement around, so you can dodge attacks and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But basically, so, like, my guy, I have an assault rifle, and he basically just shoots the whole time, and you kind of run around, and then you pick your different abilities, and you can kind of time it, and I've got an ability that does more damage from the side, I've got one that does more when they're staggered, things like that. So
okay.
there's some play with it, but for the most part, it's real time, but you're controlling the one character, and I don't know.
Is it fun?
Different.
Like,
yes,
okay.
It is fun.
That's all I really care about.
And again, I think the monster designs and just the scale of things make it even more fun because you're killing awesome, cool monster things.
Oh, okay. God dang.
And they all look really unique. There's nothing where I look like, I haven't run into really too many of obviously the first like couple ones, but like the bigger things I've looked at, there's none that look like, oh yeah, that's that thing from blank. Most of them look fairly unique. Most of them are kind of like, okay, that's something I haven't really seen too much before.
Yeah, I've heard they kind of look like really, really, really alien with the designs. Like you're on a very alien planet.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. And the landscape is really cool. They've got cool mountains and different things that you can kind of climb and everything. It's just, it works really well. Mm-hmm. And I'm really loving it after the first 4 hours.
Dang. Yeah, that's like one of those. There's like a few like Wii U games that are kind of like, when I saw that game, like I've seen videos and stuff. It just like looks better than a lot of like next gen games I've seen. It's just like, holy
yeah, it has
crap.
No right to be on Wii U the way it looks. It does not look like any Wii U game I've ever played before.
Yeah,
they've got to be pushing that thing to a limit with that. Because and there's very few loading times. The only loading times I've ran into is when it goes into a cutscene and out of a cutscene. Other than that, going in and out of the city, going, just running around, the entire world's just open from the beginning.
Jeez.
And just running through that whole thing, like there's never a pause, there's never anything. I haven't run into any of that yet after 4 or 5 hours.
Damn. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an impressive game.
Mm-hmm. So we'll probably be hearing more about it in the future then.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that is the only game I plan on playing for the next couple weeks.
Yeah, it's like 80 hours long, so I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do like 2 or 3 more little.
Yeah. I've seen anywhere from 40 like rushed playthroughs to like 180 hour.
No, jeez.
So, I don't know. We'll see how. I don't know. It's one of those games that as I put it, it's like, I feel bad starting this. I feel like I'm not going to finish it, but I'm liking it so much that I feel like I have to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for the Darksliders podcast this week. We will have a lot more about Xenoblade next week.
Oh, of course.
And possibly other things.
Yeah.
Probably other things. Hopefully there'll be some news and we'll get back into our normal schedule here. So, been gone for a while, but we're back.
Yes.
And that's exciting.
Hopefully. We'll see. I think we'll be able to keep the weekly schedule. It's actually kind of hard to do sometimes.
Did you say hope? Yeah, I thought you said hopefully it was exciting, not hopefully.
No, it's really funny. I was actually looking at like our episode count. I think it was like episode 38-ish. I mean, I'm not really sure what the official count is. But like we're getting near like our year anniversary. I was like, we should be at like 52.
Yeah, we were bad a couple. Well, I feel like we definitely did some like week and a halves in there. I feel like we're normal on like a week and a half schedule.
Yeah, or basically whenever our Twitter says we're making an episode.
Yeah. Which is a great segue. Follow us on Twitter at Darksliders_pod if you want to know when the next one is, because we don't know when it will be.
Probably next week. It's always comes with like, within a week and a half. Like it's always within there.
Yeah. But anyway, follow us there. Whatever podcast listening to thing you happen to be on right now, I'm sure you can find a subscribe button somewhere that you could click. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we will hopefully be back next week.
See ya.